Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this panel titled Strengthening National Progress Through Human Development. My name is Vanessa Ghanem, Arab Affairs Editor at The National, based here in the UAE in Abu Dhabi. And it is my privilege to be joined today by a panel of 4 distinguished speakers. Please join me in welcoming to my right Her Excellency Haneen Sayed, Lebanon's Minister of Social Affairs, Mr. Levan Zhorzholiani, Head of the Government Administration of Georgia, Her Excellency Minister Noor Khulaif, Bahrain's Minister of Sustainable Development, and His Excellency Ángel Alonso Arroba, Deputy Chief of Staff to the President of Spain. Welcome, Your Excellencies, and again, thank you for joining me. People, people, people. Because at the heart of every nation's prosperity, resilience, and strength are its people. Governments agree more than ever that the choices made about education, skills, leadership development, social inclusion, and institutional strength will not just define national competitiveness, but also the quality of life for generations to come. Yet, investing in people is not happening in vacuum. Governments today are operating under real constraints, limited institutional capacity, fiscal pressures, growing wealth gaps, and strains on the social fabric. The growing divide between those who have opportunities and those who do not is no longer just a social issue. Left unaddressed, it can quickly evolve into a security risk. Of course, we will be discussing this and more in this panel, in today's session. But before we start our discussion, I will invite our esteemed speaker to deliver their opening statements, starting with Minister Sayed. Please go ahead.
Shukran jazilan. Thank you very much, Vanessa. Good afternoon. When we speak about national progress, we usually begin with familiar foundations: stability, growth, and investment. And we heard it from the President of Paraguay. I come from a country, Lebanon, where all three have been recently profoundly shaken. But this is precisely why Lebanon matters in this conversation. Lebanon today is a country trying to come out of a crisis, of polycrises, and it's also a live laboratory for human development under extreme pressure. Between 2017 and 2022, Lebanon's real spending capacity on social protection collapsed by 78%, from 12% of GDP to less than 3%, at an exact moment when poverty tripled, food insecurity deepened, and conflict displaced entire communities. This was not a temporary shock, it was a structural rupture. Yet what followed was not social collapse. What followed was adaptation. In the absence of strong public systems, citizens stepped in, communities organized, digital tools were adopted out of necessity, informal networks replaced formal ones, young people connected to global labor markets remotely. Civil society scaled faster than institutions. This was not ideal, but it revealed something critical. Human capital does not disappear when institutions weaken. It adapts. So while many countries are planning for future black swan events, Lebanon has already been living inside one. This leads to a core insight I want to share today. National progress is no longer defined only by what governments provide, but by how well they enable the capacity, the agency, and dignity of their people, especially under extreme pressure. This is why Lebanon's focus is shifting from protection alone to empowerment through systems, from fragmented approaches to human-centered resilience. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for those remarks. Now I will turn to His Excellency, Mr. Zhorzholiani, please.
Hello, everyone. I'm very happy that I have the opportunity to participate with my distinguished colleagues and discuss such important matter like it's the development of the human capital. We believe in Georgia that investing in a human capital is a key factor to success. We are living in a world where there's global uncertainties, so you can't predict anything now because there are so much blurs in the future. So one of the key factors is to invest in people and also ensure that all institutions under government are working properly, they are accountable, they are transparent, and they have the great performance. That's how you achieve the economic growth and prosperity of the people. And again, main thing is to invest in people. So I'm looking forward to have the great exchanges with our fellow colleagues. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Minister Al-Khulaif, please.
Thank you. Allow me first to say that it's absolutely a pleasure to be on this panel with my colleagues here, and to thank our host, the UAE, for the invite, for hosting such a great gathering of governments and the private sector together. And actually, I'll probably skip the opening that we've had written and just focus on the fact that the human was the thing that was highlighted today at the opening. And this just highlights the importance of that asset. And for a small country like Bahrain, which is a small island with limited resources, it was always the human capital that defines us. And we're happy to be known by our people and to be defined by our people. Our people are the ones that have seen us through the difficult times and the great times. So really an honor to be in this panel. I think there's a lot that we could cover with the questions. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Minister. Now I'll turn to Mr. Arroba.
Thank you very much, and also thank you for the invitation. I'll just make a sort of a quick comment. I think you mentioned it, Vanessa, at the beginning. This is about people. You know? So usually, very often, we talk about human capital as a means to an end, being competitive, harnessing our economies. But at the end of the day, you know, we governments, we are there for our people. So this is not a means to an end; it's an end in itself. We invest in our people. This is about investing actually in social cohesion, in more peaceful societies, in combating the divides that we find in our societies. And that's the vision that we have in Spain. Of course, we care about the competitiveness of our economy, and we know that there is no better return on investment than investing in your people. But at the same time, we know that when you do that, and as our colleague was saying, you know, this is a moment of transformation. This is a moment in which people feel uneasy. They don't know about what that change means for them. So actually making sure that they have the tools, personally, professionally, to serve these uncertain times that we're living is critical for guaranteeing that social cohesion that we look for in our societies and the trust that our citizens have to see in our institutions. So this is all about human capital, because we don't see a better return on investment, not only economically, but also socially and also politically.
Thank you so much, Your Excellencies, for your remarks. Empowering people, investing in people, human capital, these are some of your keywords some of the keywords that appeared in all of your statements. And Minister Al-Khulaif, I'm going to start with you. How important is it to invest in people through education, skills, leadership program, and preparing the workforce for the future?
Thank you. I think the short answer is very important, but I'm going to go for the long answer. It's actually not just important, it's existential at the moment. It is the one thing that we have to focus on, and is the best return on an investment that a country or a government can do. It's actually been the cornerstone of our government plans and our government visions and strategies. And when I look back at our Vision 2030, which was launched back in 2008, it was all about the human capital development, because we were talking about moving the economy from a country that relies on oil, so oil made up over a third of our economy. So how do we move from there into a more diversified economy? And it was very apparent even then that we had to do it through developing the human capital, through education, through innovation, through upskilling and reskilling. And so today we're an economy that is 85%, 86% non-oil, where oil makes up about just 15%. So that diversification means that we've moved from an oil economy into a knowledge economy based on the people. And if you look at the composition of the economy, the largest sector in our economy is financial services. The second largest is manufacturing. You've got a large logistics sector, a large tourism sector. And a lot of those sectors we consider them service sectors, relying on people delivery, on people having the ability to deliver on those sectors, but not just to deliver today, to deliver in the future as well. So making sure that those sectors continue to adapt based on the changes, specifically when you're a small economy that is very much impacted by what is happening regionally and globally. So we don't always define the trends. We have to take the trend as it is and make something out of it and grow the economy out of it. So for sure there is ongoing investment. The education has been one that we've always invested on. Bahrain was the first country in the region to have official schools. In 1919, the first boys' school, 1928 was the first girls' school. And that continues until today with the focus on early education, the focus on bringing technology and digitization into the curriculum. We've actually are about to introduce a gaming module into the schools that was developed in Bahrain because of the importance of gaming and the importance of making sure that the kids feel like the school speaks to their world inside the school speaks to their world outside school as well. And then there's also the focus on vocational education. Under the direction of the leadership, we created Polytechnic Bahrain, which is more about finding that balance and that co-learning of in-class, but also getting work experience. And it's great to see the appetite of the private sector. Again, because it's a small economy, the government and the private sector have to work together. And so when such a strategy is issued, you see everyone coming in. And we saw that also when we had the skills accelerator. So we launched with the World Economic Forum a skill and gender parity accelerator. And that was also all about bringing a team from the government and a team from the private sector together and really pinpointing and saying, what are the 3 key things that we both agree on that we need to work on? And we agreed on skills development. We have to future-proof the economy when it comes to skills. We have to consider also women in leadership. And we also have to consider doing more when it comes to private and public sector collaboration. Maybe just the last point I'll mention, which is to me is a huge investment. And you talked about the fiscal constraints. And again, our economy or our government was not immune from these fiscal constraints. But we managed to find a way of having this circular system where the fees that are paid by the private sector on the labor fees then gets pooled, and then the private sector can go back and apply for grants using the labor fees that are paid. So it's that recycling of the labor fees and re-injecting it back into the market through getting grants for training people. So for any Bahraini that you hire, as a Bahraini company, you could go apply and have them get professional certificates. They can get any training that you want, that you see fit for that job. You can go and get it paid for free. You want to send Bahrainis out into your HQs or any of your global branches or companies, you can do that, and the labor fund Temkeen will pay for it. And it pays also, it subsidizes the salaries. It's just about monitoring what's happening in the economy and making sure that there is a more sustainable way of ensuring that there's that ongoing learning.
And thank you for highlighting the importance of the role of governments to deliver to their citizens amid many challenges and despite many challenges. Minister Sayed, how does this resonate with Lebanon, and how are social policies evolving to ensure citizens are not only protected but also empowered to actively contribute to national competitiveness?
Thank you. So maybe many do know or many don't that actually Lebanon invests a lot in human capital, and people invest a lot, parents invest a lot. There's very high out-of-pocket spending on education. Families would borrow to educate their children. But what we have, and we do have overall an education system both pre-tertiary and university, which produces top-notch, but it is for the few. So the equity issue is a very significant one in terms of social policy. How do we get everybody up to that same level? And that's, while of course the Ministry of Education's main objective is to do that, but I see this as a it cuts across. Developing human capital or building human capital is something across all ministries. In the Ministry of Social Affairs, where we support very large group of people who have fallen under the poverty line because of these multi-poly crises that I mentioned over the past 5-6 years, we have information on them because we provide them assistance, cash assistance or what have you. We have very large databases, and I believe very much in what I call the power of data. So we've developed programs which move families, poor families, into what I call pathways into economic inclusion. So how do we get people now skilled up and then into employment, either self-employment or wage employment? So, and this is very inclusive. This also prioritizes people with disabilities, also to get them into economic pathways. So I think the role for social policy absolutely is to bring the equity aspect into it. And we're using technology in many of these programs that we're rolling out to try to also bring that part of society into the modern sector. So I think what's important here is to not lose sight of, not to leave anyone behind, because ultimately that is going to determine the competitiveness in the long term of the economy.
Mr. Zhorzholiani, we spoke about challenges. Minister Khulaif mentioned challenges. Minister Sayed mentioned other challenges. And I think perhaps one of the biggest challenges are the geopolitical shifts and the geopolitical uncertainty that we live in. Amid the evolving and the growing geopolitical uncertainty, how is the Georgian government ensuring the resilience and social well-being of its people?
Thank you for this question. In the world of geopolitical uncertainties, as you have mentioned now, it's very important to ensure the well-being of your people and the resilience, and government should show it. Georgia is a small country, but with a very rich history and a proud people, so it is another huge responsibility. And if you want to tackle all these challenges, first of all, you have to have the clear, vivid plan, vivid picture, and the concept and the policies, how you act when there is so much uncertainties globally. The first, our concept is mainly based on peace. So Georgia is not only in the country, but in the broader region. Georgia is a peace promoter, and peace means more stability, it ensures credibility, and also then it comes the economic growth, which is very important to ensure the well-being of the people. In terms of economy, we were doing great. For the last 4 years, our average was 9.3%, and it was the highest in the Europe. But at the same time, if you want to be stable, you have to ensure the strong institutions, strong anti-corruption policies, and strong public procurement system. So it then gives the sense to the whole population that you really care about the nation and you are very much directed to their well-being. For instance, under my office, we have established the Department of Government Efficiency, which is the main function of this department is to safeguard the public value in all ministries, in all legal entities of public law, in all state non-profits and in SOEs. And for the first 6 months, our result is that we have our fiscal effect is 300 million, which is a huge money for our budget. And also we have saved such money to the budget. And also we ensure accountability of all ministries and all agencies. So also the public procurement, it's very important because the state is one who is the biggest purchasing organization. So we have reformed the whole procurement system, and we established and founded the MRAS system. It's a market research electronic system, which is the Georgia know-how. It has not exact copy in the in EU countries or in the candidate countries, and it includes all purchasing organizations and 59,000 economic operators that are participating in the market research and then in the procurement procedures. And the main goal for this system is to to minimize the risks of bias and favoritism in the public procurement. So if you have, again, peace, if you have stability, credibility, economic growth, if your institutions are doing great, then you have opportunity to invest in people, invest more in education, more in skills, more in vocational trainings, in the social programs, in the health programs, etc. And overall, generally, this is the key factor we based our policies on. Thank you.
Thank you. You highlighted a successful policy model here, and you spoke about peace and stability. And Mr. Arroba, I want to now focus on security. I would like, do you believe that human development is more and more becoming a security priority?
Definitely, no question about that. I think it's a critical aspect for human security at the moment in which security and the securitization of our societies is becoming more prominent. So no question about that. No? The issue is at what levels do we look at that, and I would maybe mention three levels of analysis: one the national, the domestic, one the international, and then the global. No, at the national level, of course, we look at human development as a critical issue. Before I was mentioning the social cohesion dimension, you know, unless, and we were talking about access, no, and equality in access, unless we really make sure that our human capital is not a source of fragmentation in our societies and is not creating divides, we will be doing it right when we do that. No? In Spain, for instance, this is not only about the human capital in terms of skills formation, it's also about guaranteeing a minimum dignity to our people. So, for instance, our government introduced a minimum living allowance for everyone, now reaching 3.5 million people in a country of 50 million people, 1 million children, over 1 million families. So that's the phase level. Second one, those who are already in the labor market, you know, how do you ensure also that we don't have these huge gaps? And here, because we're a very progressive government as well, we make sure that those benefits, you know, that the economy, and we are one of the top growing economies nowadays in the Eurozone, that those benefits are shared. We did it raising the minimum income 60% in just 7 years. And when we were doing that, people told us this is going to destroy jobs. No, we have record job creation in Spain. 4 out of 10 jobs created now in the European Union are created in Spain. So we have shown that you can, you know, create the wealth and also distribute the benefits of the wealth. One critical aspect that I think is very important, and it's a bit of a success story for us, is vocational education and training. This is something that for the prior generation was a little bit stigmatized, if you want. No, we come from a country that developed very fast, coming from a dictatorship, so everyone wanted to send their kids to university, and vocational education and training had a bit of a stigma. We've gotten rid of that. You know, we've really invested. We multiplied by 7 in just 7 years the investment in our vocational education and training. And that is paying, because it's actually one of the sectors that has the highest employment, no? Up to 90% employment rate in certain sectors. So that is one aspect, no? That shows you how you invest in people, but you also give legitimacy, no? To the jobs that people do. The second aspect I was mentioning, it was a bit the international, and this is a moment in which we talk a lot. You were talking about security. Let's face it, we are a moment in which, we are all more aware about our national resilience, disruptions in global value chains, friendshoring, nearshoring. And that also means that you have to invest in those sectors that make you more resilient, and less dependent. That doesn't mean closing up. In Europe, we talk about open strategic autonomy, and in a country like Spain, we're totally open to new partnerships, we're open to migration, but also we are very much aware that we have to harness that human capital in those sectors, digital, green tech, that are going to make us more resilient in this economy. And then finally, to finalize on a positive note, the global aspect. Here we're talking about security, but actually we are part of humanity. So actually, any investment that we do nationally in our countries, but also collectively by cooperating in terms of tackling the big security challenges that we face as humanity, I was mentioning one, climate change, pandemics, etc., is good investment in people and improving our societies.
Thank you so much, Mr. Arroba. Unfortunately, we're running out of time, so I need to wrap up the session with one closing question. It's a common question for all of you. What one priority your government is committed to this year to secure human-centered progress? Minister Sayed, would you like to answer that question?
Sure. Building trust between the citizen and the state. You can't build a society, you can't build human capital, you can't have a well-growing economy, we can't bring our youth back that have migrated unless we start to build that trust between the government and the state. And this is an absolute priority of our government. And we've been in position 1 year, but I think we've already started to see some change, and there's much more to be done.
Thank you. Mr. Zhorzholiani.
Thank you. As I have mentioned, the human capital is a priority, top priority for us, and you have to invest a lot. But in order to invest, all the government bodies should work properly, coordinated, and the policy should be implemented, and the government should have the high performance. And also, I think that, to my mind, the economic growth is one of the key factor when there are so much uncertainties and challenges around us. In the Georgia's context, for example, our country is occupied by Russia, so 20% of our country is occupied. There is a war, ongoing war in the region. There were also some problems in the neighborhood, but we are luckily they are solved now. So we think that in order to ensure the well-being and prosperity of our citizens, we have to grow economy and invest more and more in people, because human capital is one of the core principles on what the successful nation is standing on. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Minister Khulaif.
For me, maybe I'll steal something from you, Minister, if you allow me. But it's for us partnerships at those levels as well, at a local level, at an international level, and a regional level. So when it comes to the local, because we want to continue to make sure that there is sustainable economic growth, that we remain to be adaptable, and can only do that when the government and the private sector and academia works together. And then we have, as I said, Tim, keen to come and bridge the gap where the needs of the market are not yet met by the outcome of education institutions, and in a regional level as well, and a global level, because the different countries are in different stages of their transformation, especially at a time like today, the times that we're living in today. So it's important to understand what other countries are doing, learn from their experiences, see what helps with the transformation. We don't all have to reinvent the wheel. There is a lot of potential to learn from other countries.
Thank you so much. Mr. Arroba.
Totally agree. I'll give you two for the price of one. More at the domestic level, it's all about growing with equality, inclusively, leaving no one behind, and of course taking care about the environment and the planet. But I totally think that in the current context, in a moment in which cooperation is not fashionable, let's put it that way, in which it seems that we're forced into very harsh competition, competitiveness is not competition. Competitiveness is being a better version of yourself. And I think there it's about sharing that, improvement of ourselves with each other. That's why, Spain is a country, our government is fully committed to multilateralism in a moment in which, others are building barriers. We say we like to build bridges. And we try to harness that cooperation, formal, informal, in different settings, and actually making sure that we learn from each other. This year we are chairing the OECD network of centers of government. We just signed today with our Prime Minister here an MOU of cooperation here with the Emirates, with our Prime Minister's office. And this is what it is about. It's about learning from what we do best, seeing what practices are the ones that we can explore and learn. Some might apply, some others don't. But actually, growing together as a global society. And that's what we are committed to.
Your Excellencies, that was a fantastic conversation. I only wish we had more time to discuss this and elaborate more on the topics you mentioned. Thank you for highlighting best practices, actionable insights, and successful policy models. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending this panel.